Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club. I happened to chance across a deep deal savings event where I managed to pick up a copy of the Estes pre-built version of the Blue Origin New Shepard, which complements our builder's model over here. So, first of all, this guy, the pre-built one, is typically very expensive. It's typically $70, or it's listed at that. I got this for about 11. This guy is usually half the price of the pre-assembled one, which list price is like 35 bucks. I got this also for about 10 bucks. So, yeah. If you're just looking to price shop, then you should probably build it yourself. Frankly, I would rather build it myself because that's half the fun for me. Flying it is just a perk. But let's have a look. So the main difference, obviously, you can see here, the fin structure is completely different. The pre-assembled one, is much closer to a true scale replica. And that means that the little fins at the bottom are awfully stubby. If you were to fly this as is, it would be profoundly unstable, which would be super bad. So if you are going to fly it, the kit comes with a plastic extension here, and all you do is you take the motor mount off here, and when you are putting things together, you just put the plastic fin doodad thing and then screw it in like so, and then you have a rocket that is stable in flight, which of course is really important. And it looks like that's how it wants to sit. So there. It also comes with a little base, says New Shepard, for decorative purposes, I guess. So that's nice. Anyway, yeah, so the fins are obviously quite a bit different in size, but you can see that the plastic version, they're, roughly the same total area, so it's just as stable, more or less. So that's the most obvious difference. The other difference, too, is the way the launch lug attaches. This thing is, on the builder version, is kind of, I don't know, obtrusive. It's very obvious. I kind of like this version here on the pre-assembled one, that it's a little bit more. It's a little bit less obvious, which is kind of nice. Obviously, the real one doesn't have launch lugs on it, but they have to put it on there because otherwise we can't launch them. So yeah, that works out pretty well. But one thing to point out about the fins, the reason that the fins are so small in the actual scale kit, so on the real version relative to the size of the rocket, is because we, as amateur model rocketeers, uh, don't have any active control over where the rocket is going. We have to rely on the launch lug, so the launch rod, to get it going straight to start, and then the fins to stabilize it once it's in the air and in flight. Real rockets, big rockets, don't have that limitation. They're not just dumb missiles like what we use. So their motors are gimbaled, which means they can move back and forth to change the thrust, to change their course. And even the fins themselves have control flaps on them frequently. I can't say if this one does. I don't know. But the gimbaling certainly does a whole lot of work for us. Anyway, the other major change that's worth noting is, so the nose for the pre-assembled one is a bit bigger. In total, the builder kit is a larger kit, but the nose cone for this one is actually a little bit smaller. And part of the reason is, and this is kind of a nice little fit, so that it comes apart like so, versus the entire nose piece comes off for the builder kit. But in any event, so the base here is still attached. This part stays. Um, that's not particularly useful, but as a fun little perk, you can unscrew the top here and you have yourself a little payload bay, which is just about the right size for an altimeter. Although there's not a lot of, well, there's a hole down at the bottom. When you use an altimeter, the way the altimeter works is it samples the air pressure as the rocket is in flight. So the higher up you go, the less air pressure there is, and even a small difference, the electronics can measure and tell you how high the rocket went. But of course, in order for that to work, the device has to be able to sample the air. So if this were a completely enclosed little capsule, it's plastic, so it's pretty airtight. You wouldn't be able to breathe the air, and it would just tell you whatever the pressure was at the bottom So it would think that you hadn't flown it at all. But it does have a hole in it at the bottom. Turns out it doesn't take much of a hole at all in order for the air to get in for uh, the altimeter to sample. So that works out nicely. I rather like the little feature there. That's kind of fun. Um, the only drawback, if you're looking for realism, and I'm not really sure why they chose to do it this way. So this one's parachute is classic Estes purple, kind of boring. Whereas the builder kit's parachute is supposed to be a more accurate model of what the actual New Shepard uses. So it's got, fold, you've probably seen this before, but it's got a pattern in it as opposed to just the Estes one. So yeah, that's a bit of a drawback there. That looks a little bit better. So this is more authentic. Why? Since the the non-builder kit, the pre-assembled one, is more expensive, they didn't put this more expensive chute into it. I have no idea. It seems like a bit of an oversight. I suppose I could swap these out at this point and put the neat-looking one in the more authentic-looking pre-built one, but at this point, I'm not really interested in doing that. That would be a bit of a pain. Anyway, jury's still out. Ultimately, if you're looking for flying capabilities, the builder model is lighter. It's not solid plastic, so it weighs less, which means that it's going to be able to fly higher. I have managed to fly mine eventually, this guy, on a C motor, and 600 feet seems 600 to 700 feet. 700 was what printed on the box is the maximum altitude. I got probably closer to 600, but all in all, not bad. The plastic version, the pre-assembled one, lists its maximum altitude at closer to 400 feet. So there's the weight rearing its ugly head. Ultimately, though, that may not be a problem if you're just looking for a fun, nice-looking kit that doesn't require a whole lot of work. So if you can find this guy for $10 like I did, great. I'd buy it. It's fun. This guy was also fun for $10. Personally, I would not spend $70 on a pre-built model, but if that's your thing, by all means, go ahead. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you another time.